I thought it was a great idea. Certainly, the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer. You have a relationship with Schottenheimer from your days in Seattle, certainly, as well as Andre Curtis. Just from a Schottenheimer standpoint, just what are your thoughts on him? How did he interact with the players? Your opinion of him as a Cowboys coach?
I mean, I think Shotty's phenomenal with, building relationships with the players. I'm a defensive guy, and I had a relationship with Shotty that was pretty cool. And you can go to him, you ask him questions, he's gonna give you honest answers. But he's very detail oriented. Every time he stood up in front of the team, guys respected and loved, what he brought to the table, and you respected it because you felt like you knew that what he said he was gonna tell you in those meetings, that's what you was gonna get out of him. I think he can command the room. I think he's been there. Those guys know him. They know what they expect, and um, I think the offense will be in good hands. And with the defense staff they building around, I think Shotty's going to be hands off with that, and kind of let the defensive coordinator do their thing, and kind of just manage that way.
Yeah, Quandre, we talked to some players with the Cowboys too, and obviously Schottenheimer's with the offense here in Dallas as well. But they also said, like, yeah, we loved building a relationship with him and kind of what he brought from that culture standpoint. I'm just curious if you kind of elaborate on, like, how does a defensive or an offensive coach build relationships with defensive guys? Because I think some fans think they're two separate rooms, two separate things. How does Brian Schottenheimer go about kind of doing that?
I mean, I think he just goes out his way doing walkthroughs and doing times where the offense and defense are together, and defense might be up or offense might be up, and he's just going around just talking to guys and letting guys know who he is. You know what I mean? And not necessarily just worried about the offensive guys. He wants guys to respond to him both ways, and I think that's the best way to do it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of my instance here, like with Brian Callahan. He was our quarterback coach in Detroit when I was there, and I had a relationship with Callie before I got here in Tennessee. So I think it's just, the offensive guys knowing that they had to reach out and have a relationship. And, how could you be an offensive coordinator and not have a relationship with Michael Parsons or, with Trayvon Diggs and those type of guys? So you got to talk to those guys. You got to be around those guys. And I think when the defensive guys can feel the offensive coach, it takes a little bit of that tension versus defense and things like that.
Quandre Diggs, NFL safety, played under or played with Brian Schottenheimer in Seattle. From a discipline perspective, your time being around Brian Schottenheimer in Seattle, how is he when it comes to discipline, whether it's pre-snap penalties, whether it's late for meetings, whether it's, when you're looking from the defensive side, if the team jumped off sides or the team ran a wrong route or, had a holding penalty, how was that handled by Brian Schottenheimer?
I mean, he did address those things on Mondays. Offensive, penalties, things like that. He addressed them in the meeting in front of everybody. And that was from Russ. That was from Russ to DK to Tyler Lockett to Chris Carson to different things like that. Fumbles, holdings. He addressed all those things, and guys understood it. You know what I mean? That's part of the coaching, and that's part of what it is. But I've heard, from him being in meetings where, guys had certain things as that he didn't feel like was, great in meetings. Not sitting up in meetings and things like that. I think he addressed those things, and I mean, obviously, Shotty's been around the league a long time. His daddy was a great coach. So he's been around it for such a long time that I'm sure he knows how to handle discipline. And I know he knows how to do it the right way.
Uh, Andre Curtis, you played under him, defensive back coach up at Seattle. He's going to be the defense passing game coordinator. Certainly, he's going to have an impact on defense. What kind of coach is he? What can Cowboys expect? What can players expect from Andre Curtis?
I mean, I love Dre. Dre's a military guy. He's a guy that's very, all about details. And one thing Dre's not going to do, he's not going to disrespect you. He's not going to, yell and curse at you. But he demands the respect on just the way he handles himself and the way he goes about his business. And he's always going to have a story for you. You know what I mean? So guys might as well get ready for that. He's going to have a story for you almost every day, and that's going to cut into your meeting time. So you need to make sure that, you're doing some extra studying. But, as far as like being a coach, he's all about the details and his technique. And he's going to let his players play. You know what I mean? That's all you can expect. That's all as a player like myself, that's what you really want is somebody that's going to let you play and have fun and, do the things that you do. So I love Dre. He's one of my favorite people. I talked to him the other day when I congratulated him on the new job, and I think he'll be a good fit out there.
What's the best Andre Curtis story that you could share with us?
I mean, man, honestly, it's so many because I was with Dre for three and a half years or 2.5 years, and it was a new one every day. But I think for him, he always liked to tell his military stories about how they had to do conditioning, had to run in the boots, and he always talk about the pain of discipline is always better than the pain of regret. And he likes to put that one up on the board and point to that one every day. And at that point, you just know what he's gonna say when you go in there.
Dre, I don't know. I should have looked more into this, but have you had games versus Dak Prescott? And if the answer is yes, from a defense perspective, how do you look at a player like Dak Prescott, or how do you look at a player going up against a receiver like CeeDee Lamb? What is your mindset? I know defensively guys can sometimes be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get one over here. He fooled. He gonna give us one. He gonna throw us one. Or defending a guy like CeeDee Lamb, sometimes you go out there and you go like, man, we in one with this one today. We got to be on our P's and Q today. How do you look at Dak Prescott as a quarterback and CeeDee Lamb as a receiver?
I mean, I look at them both as very, very good players, like great players in my mind. Dak is one of the best in the league, and I think he gets a unfair rap of being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and everything that comes with that. But I think in my mind, if you could ask a lot of teams with bad quarterback situations, and you ask them would they take Dak Prescott, I guarantee the answer would say yes, really, really fast. So I have a lot of Dak. I mean, you guys saw, in Seattle last year, we played you guys last year, the year before last, actually, and how he torched us, torched us very, very good. So I got a lot of respect for Dak. I think he's one of the best. And I think, injuries has kind of, slowed him down this past year, but I think he'll be back to who he is. And the same with CD. When you talk about top 5 receivers in the league, his name is in there. You know what I mean? And you know that he's gonna get targets all game, and you know that you got to be on your P's and Q's with him, knowing where he lines up, where he is in certain formations, and if you're a big time corner, you got to know you're gonna have a long day because you're gonna be getting a lot of targets, and he's gonna be getting the ball, and he's very explosive when he catches the ball, and he wants to go score a touchdown. So big fan of CD. I mean, CD. I remember Cass talking about CD when he was in high school, when he was playing by high school, and how he was doing them boys. So been a big fan of him, even though he went to OU. Been a big fan and still a big fan.
Real quickly, you played in Detroit. Just talk about the Super Bowl team. I don't know if you expected Detroit to get there this year, but how tough is that? You get to the conference championship game and think, okay, it's my turn to take the next step. It just tells you how crazy the league is, and nothing is guaranteed.
I mean, every year, it's always a Super Bowl favorite, and it's always, this is the team here, this is the team there. And at the end of the year, it always shows. You know what I mean? You never can take those, the preseason hype and all that other stuff that come with it. You can never take that stuff serious all the time. I mean, you look at it, it's always seem like a different NFC team, but the AFC team has always been the Chiefs for the longest now. And, you had that run with Tom Brady when it was the Patriots, you know what I mean? So I think it's a little bit more parity in the league, which is cool. But at the same time, it sucks to see Detroit not in it, for me, because I was cheering for those guys all year. And I wanted them to do it for the city. But at the same time, when it's their time, it's their time. And right now, it ain't their time. It's, the Eagles' time, which I'm excited to see them because I got some good friends on that team.
Quandre, brother, we appreciate you joining us, man. Thank you so much. This was great information. I see already our chat started talking about the quote that you said. Coach said, the pain of discipline is better than the pain of regret. So we appreciate you, man. Drive safely, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
We all silly like the mayor.